Prime-time local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Primetime Local News. Jasmine King joined here with Abby St. John today. We're going to have more from the Bobcats game in a few minutes, but for now we're going to talk about your local news, weather, and sports. And also our question of the day today is what really defines a sport? We were talking about it depends on physical activities such as esports. Would you consider that a sport, or would you consider like darts a sport as well?
It definitely depends. I know the debate has been going on, especially with dance and cheerleading, whether or not that is an actual sport. And esports obviously is huge now, so it really depends.
Well, we'll get to more of your guys' comments later, and you can still comment on our Facebook. But now we're going to go live to Josh Ryan, who is on location at the Civic Center.
Thanks very much. Pee Wee Blazers hockey is just finishing up practice here before the Bobcats and the Spruce Grove Saints will soon head to the ice at the Civic Center. This year's Cat squad promises to be different than last year and has certainly shown something different, certainly in their first game on Friday against the Sherwood Park Crusaders. A dud at home the next night means this next home game is a real opportunity to prove to fans that despite having a young roster, they're here to play a different brand of hockey. Now let's head back to the studio and find out what's going on in your local news.
City Council is nearing a decision on the entrance signage capital project. At the beginning of August, administration had issued a request for proposal for the design and installation of new entrance signs. Lloydminster no longer has updated signs on each entry to city limits, representing a missed opportunity in marketing for the city with drivers passing through.
We tasked our communications people and marketing people through economic development what we would like to see. One of the challenges is that our city's boundaries have grown, our logos have changed, and marketing is important because people identify you by those things. It demonstrates the viability of our community.
Marketing isn't the only reason new signage is needed, however.
There's some practical reasons as far as, the border potentially changing as we go through the annexation process so that, it's understood once you are entering the city of Lloydminster. And, it's a community that we take a lot of pride in, so we want to showcase as much as we can.
A decision on the project will be made this Monday. It's been the hot topic lately, and more questions are being raised on whether or not there should be vape regulation changes and what the dangers are associated with vaping.
I just heard something this morning that there's someplace in the States has banned it now, which is a good thing because, kids don't know any better.
With the recent news of a youth in London, Ontario being diagnosed with a severe respiratory illness linked to vaping, more people are wondering if there should be a ban of vapes because of their potential dangers associated with it.
Health outcomes that can be associated, so that's longer term damage to the lungs and diseases that are associated with it. So it could aggravate pre-existing conditions such as asthma, or it may in the future precipitate long-term damage that may manifest in the form of something called COPD.
With more articles and studies coming out regarding vaping, local vape store manager Paige Farrell says there is still a lot of confusion when it comes to the dangers of vaping.
The biggest misconception is that everybody's seeing on the news that it is due to vaping, which everybody assumes it's nicotine vaping, but it's actually not. It's vaping illegal cannabis oil.
Another big issue surrounding vaping is that younger individuals are getting involved, with parents wondering what damages kids may face.
Because the lungs are still developing into adulthood, the lungs may be more susceptible to damage from devices and inhalants, and that's not exclusive to vaping. That could be smoking, that could be other things. The lungs may be more sensitive at a younger age.
One argument made by vape experts is that it's healthier to vape than to smoke, and that there isn't as many chemicals being ingested.
Sub-ohm vaping would be like a synthetic nicotine, and salt nicotine is a more pure form of nicotine, I suppose. People think that whenever you're vaping nicotine, it's no better than smoking, but in reality, nicotine is not what's bad for you in cigarettes, it's everything else.
As more illness and deaths associated with vaping are being reported, local Border City residents had opposing views on whether or not they think it should be banned.
I think it should be banned too.
Why?
Well, I don't know, because I know some kids on it that are just, it's not good for them.
I think it's a healthy alternative to smoking cigarettes or I've been vaping. I mean, I still smoke like maybe 1 or 2 cigarettes like a day kind of thing like that, but that's from a pack and a half a day, right? So
I personally, because I suffer with asthma, I think it should be not banned, but I think it should be like alcohol, like you're not able to use it until you're 18.
And the debate for whether vaping should be banned or not is still up in the air. For 39 years, Canadians across the country have taken part in the Terry Fox Run to raise money for the foundation to keep his legacy alive. Here in Lloydminster is no different. For the past 4 years, Holy Rosary High School has been doing it a little differently. In this week's Beyond the Classroom, we see how students are learning about Terry Fox, but also staying active.
Instead of the traditional run, the students at Holy Rosary High School learn facts about Terry Fox, then do an exercise in relation to the fact.
They set up stations, so we learn about Terry Fox, what he did in his life, what his purpose was for the run, for everything he did in his life. So every time we go around the gym, there's a little quote, a little saying, something telling us about his life, and then the number of times he did that or how old he was, anything like that is the number of times we do the activity.
This gives the students a chance to learn about the impact that Terry Fox made.
It's more to understand more about what Terry Fox did, his purpose, his learning, the reason he really wanted to do the run. So it's just a way for us to actually learn more about him than just do the run.
The teachers want the students to take the information they learn with them.
We're hoping that students will leave and they'll be able to educate other people about Terry Fox and about cancer research. And we are trying to fundraise a little bit of money, so we do have some challenges here with our students and within the school. So we are hoping to make a little impact in Canada in general.
By doing these activities or fundraising, it keeps what Terry Fox did for cancer research alive and continues to grow the impact he made.
He had made a huge impact on cancer research, and a lot of people have seen the impacts that he has had firsthand. So I think it's important that we carry on the tradition and keep Terry's legacy going.
And that's it for this week's Beyond the Classroom.
The second run for Lloydminster is gearing up after being rescheduled, and this time working with Project Sunrise. The run last year managed to raise $12,000. With that kind of success for a first run, Imam Manzoor Azim and his community had no problem teaming up with the Lloydminster Region Health Foundation for a second time, this time raising money for mental health, a subject Azim takes seriously.
Mental health is one of those issues. I personally think that it is the disease, it is the problem of this age, this generation. Like we used to have other problems, chicken pox, cowpox, right? And that was a time when we used to think that, okay, this world is ending now. You know, this disease will actually make everyone like zombies, or this is catastrophe, right? But I think mental health is the problem of this age with this generation.
Last year at over 150 runners, a number the community was happy to see, but this time they'll be prepared for a big turnout.
It definitely was our hopes were not that high, but the door of the improvement is always open. I think we'll improve this time, and the next time that we'll do it will keep on improving.
Azim hopes that this year will be successful as last, giving them a chance to try and make the event annual. The Lloyd Run takes place Saturday, September 21st at the Bud Miller Park. Now let's go to Josh Ryan, who is live at the Civic Center.
Back at the Civic Center, and I'm joined by head coach and GM Nigel Dubé. Nigel, a mixed opening weekend, obviously a good showing in your season opener against Sherwood Park. Then in your home opener, certainly not the result you guys were hoping for. What have you worked on in the past couple of days heading into this second home game to definitely reverse that result?
Well, I think for us it's a matter of finding consistency, and we've talked about that, and we went right back to work on Sunday. We're doing the 7 days a week right now, and trying to find the consistency throughout the week, and we'll see where we're at tonight.
And new starting goaltender tonight, what are you expecting from him?
Well, Garrett's come in and he's played for us here out of the gate, so we need him to be big, and at the same time we need to move pucks forward ahead of him and keep him out of our zone. So, we have big expectations of Garrett every night, and both of our goalies every day, and we need him tonight.
You talked about how young your team is and how obviously consistency is the thing you're pushing for. In addition to just practicing the heck out of them, getting that routine down, what other things are you doing off the ice to kind of also get the mindset, I guess, right?
Yeah, well, we have 19 new players this year and 5 returning from last year, and within that is one 20-year-old, and he doesn't turn 20 until November. So we're a youthful group, and we're doing a lot of team building off the ice and also self-reflection. These guys need to be able to take a look at themselves and evaluate their game on a day-to-day.
Thanks again for this, Coach, and good luck tonight. We'll have more from the Civic Center, but first let's head back to you guys in studio and a look at your local weather.
Thanks, Josh. Taking a look at current temperatures, it is 16 here in Lloydminster with a mix of sun and cloud, which we've seen throughout today. It has been pretty nice weather throughout today. That wind is 7 kilometers coming in from the northeast. And our records for today, back in 2008, the record high was 25 degrees and the record low was -7 back in 1991. Now taking a look at current temperatures across the region, 20 in both North Battleford and Melfort, 21 in Saskatoon and 19 in Meadow Lake and Prince Albert. On the Alberta side, 17 in Edmonton and Cold Lake, 15 in Red Deer, 13 in Edson, 18 in Athabasca, 12 in Rocky Mountain House and in Whitecourt, and 16 in Jasper. Now taking a look, Cold Lake overnight, they'll see a little bit of cloud coverage, but it shouldn't be too bad with a low of 6. And then tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, a little bit of cloud throughout the day with a high of 18. In North Battleford, same scenario overnight with a little bit of cloud coverage with a low of 8. And tomorrow they could see some showers with a high of 16. Here in Lloydminster, same deal, a little bit of cloud coverage overnight and a low of 6. And 15 is the high for tomorrow with a mix of sun and cloud. Now tomorrow there's a low of 6 degrees, but that mostly sunny, cloudy skies as we've seen today will be the same thing for tomorrow. And on Friday there's a 40% chance that we could see some showers, but there'll be a mix of sun and cloud throughout the day and a high of 17 and a low of 7. But that wind will pick up to 17 kilometers per hour coming in from the west. And then on Saturday, we should see some bright sunny sky throughout all of the day with a high of 17 and a low of 5. And that wind will slow down just a little bit to 13 kilometers per hour coming in from the west-northwest. But as a look at your 3-day forecast, we'll have your 7-day forecast later on in the cast.
Welcome back. Cannabis producer Canopy Growth expects to complete its search for a new chief executive officer by the end of calendar year. Chairman John Bell told shareholders in Toronto yesterday that a robust search is well underway and the company is interviewing a number of candidates. Bell also commended co-founder Bruce Linton on his hefty contributions to the Ontario-based company. Bell's comments come months after Linton was terminated from his role as co-CEO and chairman in July after its biggest shareholder, Constellations Brands, said it was disappointed in the company's latest earnings. Now let's take a look at your egg prices.
We're a part of less than 5% of Canadian auto body shops and Lloydminster's only locations with certified collision care recognition at City Centre Auto Body.
The Rustlers soccer season is now well underway. Leading the team is one of the few veteran players, Zach Wagner. His ties to the Lakeland program are deep, and our Evan Kenny reports.
Zach Wagner has been a part of this Lakeland soccer team for 4 years now. He's gone from a backup goalie to the starter and finally an ACAC all-conference player.
Zach's role now is substantially different than it was his first 2 years, and he's grown into it very well.
He gives some of that credit to his dad and head coach.
I know when I was younger, it wasn't always, it was, oh no, you're just my dad, you don't know anything. But then through the years, I've seen him coach goalies, and then I now know that what he was telling me then, I may not have accepted it, but now that I've seen it more and I've done it more, it was the right thing.
Kevin Wagner has been coaching for 28 years across North America. In those 28 years, he's also been able to coach not just Zach, but his son Mitchell Wagner too.
Different. I've been playing with him for so long, it's just almost natural to be playing on that team. I think it'd feel weird if I didn't have one of those two on my team with me.
As a coach with kids on the team, transitioning to home life can be a struggle. For the Wagner family, business is separated from family.
You learn when to refer to him as dad, and you know when to refer to him as their coach.
They've always played, and so in some realm I've always coached them. So I think maybe in a different scenario it would be, but to be honest, it's just normal. And so I can be going at them and pushing them as a player on the field, and then 20 minutes later we're barbecuing, having hamburgers.
When he gets on the field, it's game time. When he's at home, it's at home time. It's almost a different person.
We never take any grudges at home. Whatever stays on the field is on the field.
We know dad can separate life on and off the pitch, but for the boys,
it's more adapting to it. I'm not used to having a younger brother or sibling on the same team, and so it's coming.
Both boys have said Kevin has been a huge part of their soccer careers. Zach even started playing his position because of his dad.
I mean, yeah, when back in the day, that was many days ago. No, Zach's a much better goalkeeper than I ever was.
We've all heard people call teams family before, but in this scenario, the team is literally family. Evan Kenny, Primetime Local Sports.
Now we go to our Josh Ryan, who is on location at the Civic Center.
Back at the Civic Center now, joined by veteran Bobcats forward Chance Adrian. You had a nice, relaxing summer, it sounds like. You were able to stay off the electronics and surf most of your time.
Yeah, exactly. I was up at the lake basically the whole summer. Did a lot of renovations with my papa, which was nice. Got a lot of one-on-one time. Did a lot of fishing, a lot of golfing, and yeah, a lot of surfing.
And you obviously got to work on your game a little bit as well. What was your main focus heading into September?
I think the biggest thing was just the leg strength. I wanted to be explosive this year. Did a lot of leg strength stuff, and then did a lot of off-ice running as well too, just to keep my cardio. So.
And you've obviously been tested by that in the first couple of games. How do you think the squad is starting to gel so far, considering it's almost a brand new roster and you're now the oldest player on the roster?
Yeah, I think Nigel's done a really good job with the team building early in the year. We went out to a Bible camp there and spent a weekend and did a lot of team building activities. And I like where our group's at right now. We're a really close group. Lots of guys are hanging out all the time. And I think the wins will come.
And obviously you want to send a message to the rest of the league tonight after a good first showing but a bad second showing on the weekend, especially for your home fans.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, like you said, we had a really good first game on the road, and we came home and I thought we were a little nervous. We were holding the sticks a little too tight maybe. So tonight's a rebound game. I think we're going to have a lot of energy tonight and just get back to the game plan.
And Spruce Grove, obviously a team who's had a lot of success recently, both in past seasons but also winning their first two games. Kind of what's the strategy against them?
Like most teams, they're a really fast, skilled team. They like to play with the puck a lot, so I think for us, we got to come in here and be very physical tonight, especially on their skilled guys, and just keep the game simple. Chip pucks in, chip pucks out.
And what do you hope to hear from the fans from the stands as the game gets underway?
Just lots of loudness. Love hearing the cheering, and as long as the fans are in it, then we are too.
I expect to hear a fair amount of cheering, certainly at the start of the game. We'll see if you can keep them cheering as the event goes on. We'll be back later on here at the Civic Center. Back to you guys, though, in studio.
Thanks, Josh. We'll take a look at current temperatures. It's still 16 here in Lloydminster, and in Alberta, a lot of 17 and 18. 17 in Lac La Biche, Cold Lake, Marwayne, St. Paul, Vegreville, and Edmonton, and then 18 in Bonnyville, Vermilion, Wainwright, and Provost. On the Saskatchewan side, 19 in Macklin, 20 in North Battleford, 17 in St. Walburg, Maidstone, and Pierceland, 18 in Meadow Lake and Green Lake, and 16 in Isla Crosse. Now, tomorrow we're looking at 15 here in the border city, as well as in Macklin, Maidstone, and St. Walburg, 16 in North Battleford, 18 in Meadow Lake, Pierceland, Green Lake, and 19 in Isla Crosse. And on the Alberta side, 18 in Cold Lake, Bonnyville, Lac La Biche, Vegreville, and Edmonton, 17 in St. Paul and Vermilion, 15 in Wainwright and Provost, and 16 in Marwayne. Now, our school day forecast for tomorrow here in Lloydminster, a nice trend of cloud throughout the day with a little bit of sun maybe peeking throughout But at 8 a.m. it'll start with 8 degrees, and then by recess it will be warm up to 11 degrees, and then get a little bit warmer by lunchtime at 14, and then by the time school is out it will be at 15 degrees. Now taking a look at your 7 days, 17 is the high on Friday, and that wind will pick up to 17 kilometers with a 40% chance of some showers. Sunny day on Saturday with a high of 17, high of 21 on Sunday, so we get that chance to get into the 20s with a mix of sun and cloud throughout the day, and that wind will die down to 7 kilometers. 17 is the high on Monday, 16 on Tuesday, and 14 on Wednesday. We're right around our averages for this time of year, with our average high being 16 and our average low being 3, and we're away from that everyday rain where it's just every other day. But as a look at your 7-day forecast, we'll have more news coming up after the break.
Now joined by forward Tyler Schendel, new to the team, but not new to Coach Dubé, as you had some experience with him out playing for the Camrose Kodiaks. What has been your experience thus far here in the Border City?
It's been awesome so far. It's been some change, but some good change, and it's continuing to go upwards as we're getting better every day, so it's exciting.
Indeed, we were just talking off camera before about it's a unique experience with a group that's so young but already developing chemistry very fast, and assuming you guys continue to grow on the path you're on, sky's the limit over the next couple of years.
For sure, we have a young roster this year, and I think like 19 new players, so it'll be key off the ice to gel as a team, and then it should translate on the ice, but as long as we're consistently improving, then it'll get better.
Now, Coach Dubé said that you guys practiced on Sunday right after you lost the previous home game. What has that been like, kind of making the early section of the year a little bit more heavy in terms of training?
Well, it's a long season too, so you got to be able to play when you're tired and sometimes bruised up or whatnot. So if you can get that figured out early, then it'll translate throughout the long season.
What was the main thing you guys worked on over the past couple of days heading into this one against Spruce Grove?
Just our day-to-day consistency, our shift-to-shift consistency, because we had a great start the first game of the season, and then we took a step back the second game. So we just come to the rink every day to battle, and it just needs to be consistent.
Now, is that more of a mental focus thing, or is that some sort of technical stuff in terms of where you stand on the ice?
Well, it's systematic for sure, but everything's mental, like the systems, the playing, the chemistry. You just have to be dialed in all the time. So as young guys that haven't played such heavy schedules and whatnot, they might not be used to that. So that's what we're working on.
For you individually, what's your process to get ready before you play in a game?
Before a game, it's just dynamic warm-up, pretty long stretch, basically just try and prevent injury. And then as soon as I'm at the rink, my head's on the game.
Well, I'll let you get out and get to that pre-game warm-up as we head into this contest with the Spruce Grove Saints. First, let's take a look at your question of the day.
Thanks, Josh. Now, our question of the day is a little bit of a more complicated one, potentially, but it's what really defines a sport? What do you say that, like, considering darts or video games or maybe even fishing is a sport? Now, our comments on our Facebook page say the sport is defined by an activity involving physical activity, so it would be considered a sport. A lot of people said video games, no, and then some people also agreed, yes, video game is a sport. So I think it really depends on what your personal beliefs are, because now you see esports everywhere.
Yeah, that's become a huge thing. People are really getting into, and they have ginormous conventions or competitions, and so many people show up. Same with darts. Crowds are the arena is filled with people. So I don't really know how you can define a sport. I think traditionally it was, physical activity like hockey, football, basketball, but it really doesn't, it may not look like that anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Like a traditional compared to now is a lot different. But now the one thing we do like is seeing your pet picture. So we're going to take a look at your pets. This is Bandit.
Just an angel.
Just enjoying that. So cute. And this is Buster.
I love him. He's so cute. Great picture.
Very true. This is Callie.
Enjoying a nice nap. Very cute.
Very cuddly. This is Finnick and Freya.
Love their names, very original, gorgeous dogs.
Great picture as well. And then finally, this is Simba.
Gorgeous, gorgeous dog.
I love the name too. Well, thank you to everyone who sent in your pet pictures. We'll be giving away a Pet Pad gift card at the end of the week.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
We're here at the Stockade Convention Center, and I'm joined by Dwayne Friedrich and Greg Shalley of the Sask Alta Radio Club, the treasurer and the instructor for the club. And you're going to talk about different aspects of what you guys do with the students, but also you're set up here for the Bordering on Disaster conference from earlier this week. So kind of what do you see your guys' role in terms of dealing with disaster situations?
Well, one of the things we see with amateur radio is often a term used is when all else communication fails, or you hear some people say when the world goes silent. We have systems that will still communicate, and we're actually listening to some guys working, various people in Europe today, just on the one radio behind me. Our role in the city here is we actually have an operating radio station both for our local, what we call a 2-meter network, which is kind of a local in this area. Plus, we have one of these radios for HF or long distance haul work, if we want to call it that, Greg, set up right in the city of Lloydminster Station.
And so, as the instructor, do you work at all directly with people in emergency response, or do you deal mostly with civilians as well?
I'm dealing mostly with students, people that want to become involved in amateur radio and the different aspects of it. We run a course in Lloyd. We have one coming up shortly that we'll be running both in Lloyd and in Wainwright, both locations. And we train anybody that's interested in amateur radio. We give them the technical background they need. There's an examination, a federal license to operate radios, and we provide that through our training program. And if I could give the email address, dcjnd.frie@gmail.com. You could get more information on becoming a ham radio operator. Course runs from about the middle of October into the springtime.
And now, how would that work within an emergency situation? Like, what would the use of the ham radio provide in that? Can you kind of give us an example of how they would provide assistance in that scenario?
We provide communication and formal communication systems within the structure of the Emergency Command Center. We pass messages between the different locations. When you have an emergency response, it often isn't just one location. And we will take messages, put them into a format, transmit them, and also we're archiving them at the same time for analysis after the event is over.
And you guys you would essentially provide a role for when there's cell tower problems, because often that has happened in many cases of a emergency.
Serious communication losses. We actually have a lot of people working on practicing networking, where 200 to 300 guys are talking to each other per day across the western provinces. And that's used in the States quite a bit too. It's major events like Hurricane Katrina, and then even the Bahamas here.
Well, thank you again, gentlemen, for joining us today. You heard that email earlier. You can find more as well on their website. And back to the rest of your cast on Primetime Local News.
Hey, it's Justin Marshall from Cool 101.3 here in Bonnyville and Boom 95.3 in Cold Lake. And here's what's happening around the Lakeland. Well, coming up on Saturday, Walsh Field at Scott Park. It starts at 2 o'clock. It's the 10th annual Scott McDonald Memorial Cancer Initiative fundraiser. Bunch of football games. Byron Johnson joins us now, involved with the football community. What's going on, buddy?
All right, well, this is a big one that the Parents Association and the football teams put on every year. This is the big cancer fundraiser that they do. There's 3 football games back to back, so it starts off at 2 o'clock with the Renegades, and then followed by 4:30 with the Bandits and 7:30 with the Voyageurs. And what they're going to be doing is raising money for their cancer initiative by head shaving, which they're taking pledges for, and a big silent auction as well.
You can get more information, facebook.com/boom953. Byron, this seems to be a huge event around the Lakeland. Not only do people come from Bonnyville, but also Cold Lake as well. Why is that?
It's a real important event. Like we're remembering Scott and what he's done for the football team, keeping his memory alive as well, and helping out the whole community and the whole Lakeland, and it's a really important thing. And we are playing 2 Cold Lake teams that day, so I know the stands will be packed and it'll be a lot of fun.
Byron, this sounds like a great initiative. Thanks so much for sharing about it.
All right, thanks a lot. Thanks for coming out and doing a story about it.
And if you have an event you would like to feature on What's Happening, shoot me an email, jmarshall@stingray.com.
Today I'm joined here with Bailey Blackwell. She's one of the organizers for the Connect Glow Run to raise money for cystic fibrosis that's coming up pretty quickly. So first, thank you for coming in and explaining. I found it and I thought, what a unique way to raise money, having a run typically that's set in the daytime at night. So thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So can you just start off by explaining what the Glow Run is?
Yeah, so it's a run. We'll start it around 8 p.m. right when it gets dark. There's a 5K walk, there's a 5K run, and a 10K run. Basically, we have glow supplies for sale, glow necklaces, glow sticks, blinking lights, everything that you can imagine, neon shirts. It's just kind of a different way to get out and be in the community and raise some funds for a great cause.
Definitely, and it's at night, and this is a unique way to do it. So where did the idea come from to hold this run at night opposed to during the day?
I think just something different, really.
And now this is for cystic fibrosis, and we don't typically always hear about a lot of fundraisers around this. So can you just tell me a little bit about what the money will be going towards and what cystic fibrosis really is?
So cystic fibrosis is a rare genetic disorder. Basically, Kin Canada has had this partnership with Cystic Fibrosis Canada, which is is a company that allocates the funds where they see fit for cystic fibrosis research. So this kind of started when Kinette that joined the Lloydminster group, she had cystic fibrosis and then ultimately lost her battle to cystic fibrosis. So we started this run as a memory for her.
And how many years has this run been going on here in Lloydminster?
This is the 5th year.
And looking back at all the years, what's different this year, or maybe what can people expect this year that may not have happened last year?
I think this year we'll have good weather. Last year it was actually snowing, so that's something to really look forward to, is maybe we'll have some nice weather this year.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's always the hope, because you never know when, especially out in Alberta, you never know what the weather is going to be like. Exactly. So when people come out and partake in the run, what can they expect, or what do they have to know before coming out?
So we do ask that everybody pre-registers for the run. You can find the link to register on our Facebook page or on the Lloydminster Connect's website. If you're unable to register before, we will take people on Friday night as well if they just want to walk up. Basically, we'll have registration set up. You can buy a glow shirt, you can buy any glow supplies that you need, and then we'll just kind of hang out until the run starts. We'll have some music going, and it'll just be a bit of a party, and then after the run, everybody will hang out and have snacks, and then we'll announce the winners for the 5K and the 10K, and best costume and any other prizes that come up.
So when you say costumes, what kind of do you mean by that?
We do encourage everybody to dress up, whether it's a group costume or you just want to dress up alone. It makes it more fun and makes the run go by faster.
And really quickly before we wrap up, can you just tell me just when the run is and all the fine details like the time and the place and where people can register?
Yeah, so the run is in Bud Miller Park. We will start at the Bud Miller Park building, which is right beside the BioClean Aquatic Center. Registration will start at 7:30. The run will start around 8. And yeah, the link to register is on our Facebook page, Canuts Glow Run, and on our website, Lloydminster Canuts.
All right, well, thank you so much for coming in and explaining this really unique, awesome fundraiser.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
As you can see, the Bobcats concession staff working hard to get everything ready for tonight's contest, and that includes a number of these very tasty burgers indeed. Puck Top isn't until 7:30, so still a little bit of time to get out here to the Civic Center if you haven't purchased a ticket already. I know they're starting the 50-50 draw and a number of other contests that they'll do over the next couple of weeks heading into the rest of the regular season. It's a big game for the Bobcats. They had a tough first outing at 6-0 against the Spruce Grove Saints, but a chance to get those home fans back and excited for the rest of the season, and certainly give goaltender Garrett Larson a chance to prove himself. So hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. For now, I'm going to have my supper, and I bid you adieu. Enjoy the rest of the cast on Primetime Local News. Very quality.
Thanks, Josh. Well, taking a look at your 7-day forecast one last time. Tomorrow, a high of 15, and then on Friday, a high of 17, but a 40% chance of some showers. The nice sunny day on Saturday with a high of 17 as well. 21 is the high on Sunday, then 17 on Monday, 16 Tuesday, and 14 on Wednesday to wrap up your 7-day forecast.
Seeing that concession food that you get at like arenas than Josh had, it just honestly makes me like want it so much more.
Yes, it definitely makes me hungry, and you know, concession food is always the best part of going to games, minus the fact that you're watching a live sporting event. But you know, you gotta have that good food.
They definitely have some underrated food there. Well, thank you guys for joining us for Primetime Local News tonight. We'll have more local news tomorrow. See you then.